It was the biggest girl brand on the planet and nothing came close. Sorry, Frozen. Sorry, K-pop Demon Hunters, but Moana was the show, the movie that all girls wanted to see every single day. It was not only the most viewed movie on Disney Plus year after year, it was the most watched movie on any streaming platform, period, for nearly a decade. And now, everybody is wondering what broke this franchise. Today, we've got answers. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great day. It's a groovy day. Welcome back and happy Monday. The work week begins and we're at it too. Getting to work for you, explaining how it is that Moana is now losing to Snow White, Rachel Zegler's Snow White. Are you ready to dive in, friends? Let's do so. You click that like button and let's get to the news. Here it is, out of Deadline. Anthony D'Alessandro writing this one. Moana misfires with $43 million U.S. opening. Looks to Horizon with A- cinema score. Now, yesterday, I promised, right on the Sunday, I said, you know what, I'm going to explain what has happened here, but I just need to tell everybody it is worse than they are telling you. It is so much worse. And the answers they have, they're insufficient. And that's why we are here to fish and receive that which is true so that you know what's actually happening in the culture. It's what we do here, keeping you ahead of the culture curve. Disney's live-action Moana, it says, didn't catch a wave Saturday. Beach Boys reference, right? Catch a wave. When most families come out crashing to the shore this weekend with a $43 million U.S. opening and an even worse result around the world with $95 million. By the way, this was supposed to be a guaranteed billion-dollar film. Stateside, that result is among the weakest for a Disney live-action redo of an animated classic, down there with Snow White. It's going to be worse than Snow White, and I have the proof. I promised this yesterday, and I have it for you. $42.2 million, and Dumbo, $45.99 million. And what's mind-boggling is that Moana had no controversy, a la the former, with its very vocal star, Rachel Zegler. See, this is what I'm telling you. They don't understand this, but I do. You're gonna. Hang tight, we'll get there. Typically, when Disney brings the old stuff, pre-Katzenberg animated 1980s, 1990s era, into the flesh on screen, the results are lackluster. It's talking about Dumbo, it's talking about Cinderella, it's talking about Snow White. But this is truly upsetting for the studio to see the live-action version of what is one of their most popular franchises. It was. It goes on to talk about the Disney Plus stats, and by the way, this is going to be confusing later on, because they're going to conflate 22 million plus toys sold with $22 million, which is actually... Anyway, I'll show you in a minute. But first, what I'm going to show you is, indeed, this is underperforming Snow White. For you see, if we go to Disney's Snow White, the opening, what do we have? Let's go to first weekend. Snow White comes out to $42.2 million in its opening domestic weekend. Back in March of 2025, just a little bit over a year and a half ago. And of course, Rachel Zegler, we knew this was going to be a disaster film, and it was a disaster film. But the mainstream media had no idea that Moana was going to be a disaster film, and they don't know how to explain it. Now, you'll see that the domestic box office here says $43 million. And what does that mean? Well, folks, if we go back to Snow White again, 42 is indeed less than 43. So Pro must be wrong, right? No, Pro is not wrong. Because when we adjust for inflation, darn it, that pesky inflation. Yes, there's been some inflation since last year to this year. No, it's not rampant like it was in the past years, but it's still there. And that means that this 42.2, folks, what is it actually? In today's dollars, 44.3. 44.3, which means that in terms of tickets sold, in terms of actual dollars, adjusted for inflation, Moana has lost to Rachel Zegler's Snow White. Now, how did this happen? How can this be? Well, before I explain, I have to set the table. I have to explain just how big Moana was and what Bob Iger and the rest of Disney did to this franchise that should have been making them oodles and caboodles of cash for decades to come. Marcos Melendez is writing this one. Disney's most streamed movie star isn't a Star Wars sequel or part of the MCU. This is from 2024, and what they say here, you've got to hear it. It's just music to my ears in terms of comeuppance for the House of Mouse, for Bob Iger, for Dana Walden, for everybody who said, Oh, we're going with the Cracker Barrel strategy. We have this wonderful franchise. It's amazing. People love it. Let's cash grab it to death. And here's what they did. It says, and remember, we're in 2024, just before Moana 2 comes out. Ahead of its upcoming sequel, Moana is still going strong on streaming for Disney. And it's not slowing down anytime soon. But it did. Although the company recently released several record-breaking films, including Deadpool and Wolverine, it seems audiences can't stop putting the family-friendly animated film starring Dwayne Johnson and Aliki Cravalho on their television screen, Moana, which garnered nearly $700 million at the box office. Well, it's been doing some special stuff on streaming. According to Bloomberg, Moana has been not only the most streamed title from Disney, it's one of the most popular films on any platform. Correction, it was year after year after year. Since Disney Plus debuted in 2019, Moana has been one of the 4 most watched movies on the streamer, with over 80 billion minutes logged by its loyal and growing fan base. In other words, as Bloomberg puts it, that number is the equivalent of seeing the picture 748 million times. Goes on to tell us Moana's future is bright. But folks, it's not. And that's Bob Iger's fault. For you see, as I go to Reddit, which I don't normally go to, but I'm going to today because you got to see what real people had to say. You got to see how they destroyed it. And then I'll show you what the trades are coming up with for an excuse here. Folks, the future is not bright because Bob Iger, in all of his magnificencies, decided that the answer to keep the stock up was to drop Moana as a TV show, which they were working on, and quickly repurpose it into a movie, Moana 2. And then right after that, because this was so darn popular, they'd make so many billions of dollars if they just released a live action. People couldn't get enough Moana. So they took a very, very, very crappy TV show and they transformed it into a very, very crappy movie. And we're not going to go to Rotten Tomatoes today because Rotten Tomatoes was in on this, I believe. I'm going to go to Metacritic in a minute and show you what people actually thought of this. But first, Reddit. It says, man, Moana 2 really didn't measure up to the first one. What happened there? It's like all the charm was sucked out. And I watched Moana 1 a couple of days ago after putting it in the back burner for so long. Not a Disney head. Most of their movies tend to leave me disappointed. But I ended up adoring Moana. It's visually gorgeous. The songs are really catchy. And a surprisingly good performance from The Rock. I love the buddy comedy duo of Maui and Moana. I ended up rating it a 9. It exceeded my expectations. By the way, pro here, I give the original Moana a 10. 10 out of 10. One of the very few films I'll do that with. So naturally, I geared up to watch the second movie, too. And well, it left me quite underwhelmed. Immediately, I felt like the movie started off on the wrong foot, but as I kept watching, I warmed up to it more. So I don't think it was an irredeemable piece of crap. It's just not even in the same caliber. And it goes on to talk about just what's going on here. But I want to read you the replies. Sloppy Joe says, with 3,000 likes, it was originally made to be a TV series, and they squished all the episodes together to make it a movie. You can really tell when a new episode starts, and as a result, the entire thing feels super disjointed. Mongolian Mongo says that, and Lin-Manuel Miranda was replaced as the composer, so the songs aren't good. B. Garza says Moana 2 had a frantic energy that reminded me of The Rise of Skywalker. Moana 2, that is. Just noise and constant moving from location to location and hyper conversations. Let me tell you, if you're being compared to The Rise of Skywalker. Devaloroso says Lin-Manuel Miranda didn't write the songs. The songs in 2 are just awful. Studying Hobby says, yup, it was like they were doing karaoke. Morgan Moonscar says, hey, Aladdin and the King of Thieves was certainly better than this. Goes on to talk about this kind of stuff, but Mystic says, I'm still flabbergasted. There's a live-action Moana coming out, and the animation is just a decade old. But you know, it's when we get down to some of these replies that this is why I wanted to show you real people talking on Reddit about this. Moana 2 always reminds me of Atlantis 2. Yay. Moana, though, this one is so important. Moana was both of my daughter's favorite Disney movies. Both of my daughter's favorite movie. Since we watched Moana 2, they've seemed to move on from it and don't want to watch the first anymore. You see, in order to pop the stock up while Bob Iger was finishing out as CEO, what the Walt Disney Company did is they destroyed their biggest girl brand. Bigger than Star Wars. On par with Marvel. Moana. Bigger than Frozen. It is. They destroyed it. They destroyed it in a soulless cash grab so that Bob Iger could try to keep the stock up before he left. And this is documented, how it happened. They took a crappy TV show. They said, this is our biggest girl brand. People eat it up. And they made $1 billion doing that, by the way. But the problem with making $1 billion off of a very bad cash grab that people realize you just stole their money is that everybody who spent that to get to that billion left frustrated. And their kids don't even want to watch the franchise anymore. Moana, by the way, if we go to Metacritic, because again, I think Rotten Tomatoes was compromised on this. Sorry, my opinion, I can have it. Moana scored an 81, okay, on the critic reviews on Metacritic, and a 7.8 on the user ratings. Now, again, I give this film a 10. I think it's amazing. How about Moana 2, which again is a TV show cobbled together? 58, 5.2. So how do you destroy a franchise? And by the way, that lines up exactly with what we see over here on Critic List as well. 48% for Moana 2, which is in stark contrast if we showed you the Moana original on Critic List. Stark contrast. I think it's got a rad rating on Critic List, which I would think there's more guys on Critic List. So that really goes to show you. And this is lining up. So how do you do that? How do you destroy a franchise? Well, you decide, I don't care what the product is. I don't care if it's good or bad. We're just going to make it. We're just going to make, and people will pay for it. It doesn't matter. We don't need Lin-Manuel Miranda. We don't need to start from scratch and make a movie. We don't need to actually spend the time to make a movie. Just repurpose a TV show. Come on. What do we got? Is there anything we can do with this? But Hollywood is confused. I go back to Deadline now. Anthony D'Alessandro doesn't understand it. None of them do. Disney they can't figure this out. How did this happen? Well, I hope they're watching. This is how it happened. You killed the franchise with that sequel. Now they're rushing to get Moana 3 out, and I'll tell you why. They better fix this. Because 2 is a disaster, and it's killed this. And the billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars that they were making off this movie, Moana, and the toys, they killed it all. They killed it all. You could make $1 billion off the sequel if you ended $10 to $20 billion of merchandise revenue ad infinitum on forever and ever. Boy, well played there, Bob. Well played. But Anthony over at Deadline says, it's a true WTF moment for the box office to a certain degree. Tracking was bullish with a $70-80 million opening early this week. By the way, it was easily over $100 million when they first started tracking this thing. With pre-sales of $4 million pointing to a $60 million plus domestic start. And then this. And here are the excuses. More than anything, the shortfall here with Moana stateside boils down to timing. Plain and simple. Wrong date, wrong year for this in-the-flesh take of what is one of Disney's most popular animated franchises. And definitely too close to its predecessor, Moana 2, which was in theaters less than 2 years ago with a $1 billion plus global grossing result. You hosed people for that billion. Now you're going to get hosed. Says it's the third family film in less than a month after the huge success of Toy Story 5 and Illumination, Universal's Minions and Monsters. Well, gosh darn it, people just got tired of going to movies after all that. Both titles are fierce competition for Maui and Moana. Don't seem to be, honestly. Minions and Monsters made a paltry $20 million this weekend. Toy Story 5 made a little bit more than that, but the door was open. The path was wide. Even though Gru's Henchman posted the lowest opening in the franchise last weekend, they're having an excellent hold of 45% with $20.5 million for the second weekend. Not really true. So it had a 45% hold because it didn't open last weekend. Its opening days were Wednesday and Thursday, and they're not counting that. It's a pretty bad drop, honestly. Toy Story 5's fourth weekend is following a strong $18.5 million. Fourth frame for Toy, which is not far from Toy Story 4, although it kind of is because inflation again, darn it. It says, no doubt moviegoers love the Moana franchise, but again, it's the third family film of late, and they just watched Moana 2, so why is there a need to rush out to see the live-action version this weekend? Because it was supposed to be a spectacular, like, let's see The Rock as Maui. Let's see, a young lady playing Moana. Let's see all of this stuff and photorealism. The bottom line is this, folks. The bottom line is this. You can't destroy brand equity the way Disney has done. They've done it callously. They've done it uncaringly. Ron Coleman, friend of the channel, attorney at large, has said that Disney has become a behemoth at destroying brand equity. And I got to say, I fully agree. Moana is the latest casualty, but it's not the only one. Marvel is there. Star Wars is there. Bob Iger, on the way out, raised this company. Not raised like that. The other way. R-A-Z-E-D. Tell me what it means. Oh, we'll get copyright, won't we? Raised it to the ground. In an effort to get the stock as high as he could, he used anything, every trick in the book. Where's that Disneyland Abu Dhabi? Is it still being built? I haven't heard anything about that. Every trick in the book. And now Dana Walden is in charge of creative, and Dana Walden is essentially a Bob Iger pick. And Wall Street is stuck with that. And I don't know how they get out of this, but I can tell you one thing. We find out in this article and deadline exactly how much they spent, and it's a lot. Moana cost them $250 million in the alleged budget, and it cost $150 million in marketing. That's $400 million total. And since Disney only gets back half of the box office, and since there basically is no secondary market, it goes to Disney Plus, and Disney Plus subscribers get it for free, Moana needs $800 million to break even. $800 million, ladies and gentlemen. They didn't get to 100. These numbers are likely to be revised down. It didn't get to 100 on its first weekend. If this film has even 2.5 legs, which might be a struggle, $250 million is the ceiling for a film that needs $800 million to break even. Should have been a $1 billion gimme, a layup for Disney, but they destroyed it. They couldn't make an original film as a sequel. They couldn't give this franchise the care it needs, what people wanted to see. And instead, they said, give them the slop. They'll take the slop. I think not. I think audiences now know and deserve far better. And they'll get it, but maybe not from Disney. All right, folks, that is the video. We've explained it. Hey, trades, let us know. Did we help you today? Start writing those headlines. Go ahead. Get your articles going. You don't have to give me credit. You never do. It's okay. It's okay. We know you watch us. But, folks, we appreciate you. That's what it's about. It's not about trying to get credentiality. It's not trying to get references anywhere. Forbes likes us, though. We appreciate Caroline Reed. Folks, that's the story. That's what's happened. And you let us know what you think about it. If you're not yet subscribed, we'd love to have you. And ladies and gentlemen, until the next time, stop by tonight. Dean Cain is on the Pro Show. Superman, Lois and Clark. He'll be here to tell us how to restart DC yet again. Be there, 9 p.m. Eastern, the Pro Show. Keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.
All right, here we go.
That science experiment was awesome! 23 gerbils to clog a toilet. Who'd have thunk? I poured 4 liters of bacon grease down the drain, and it smells great now. Okay. Me and Irate made Grumpy Broccoli an emoji on the Floral from Under a Rock YouTube channel now. What are you doing?
I'm playing Zax, the new game from Prelude Studios. It's an open beta.
Not manly enough, huh?
No, it's just in its infancy, and they want to let the world experience its greatness. Different modes, and different music actually plays in the background. None of that annoying trash you hear on most games of this style. It's a unique spin, and it's fun. And what's also great is you can play on any web browser, making it accessible wherever you have a screen.
But the annoying music is the best part of the games. This game probably sucks. Jonas probably helped make it, didn't he?
What? Sorry, what? I wasn't paying attention.
Ah!